Hi guys, it's Crystal City, your homestead. Time for Thankful Thursday. So normally when I do a Thankful Thursday, I think about something earlier in the week or even the night before, and I have some idea of what I want to talk about, but not how I want to. I never know how to talk about it. And today's no different. But today actually, and bear with me, is more about a personal thing. And I mean, I can't go into full detail, but it is very personal for me. And it kind of slapped me in the face last night, but then when I said, God help me, it became very, very, very clear on what to talk about today. So we are going to start out in prayer, and then I'm going to give you a couple of verses, and then we're not making cookies, but something like it. All right, so let's start in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for everyone that's here today, whether they step in for a minute or are here for the whole time. I am so grateful for the believers and the non-believers, and I'm welcoming all to come in and to see what we're doing and to listen. Maybe you can touch the ones that don't believe, and through me, maybe they can see something that about you through me. I want to thank you for everything that you do for us every day. The people that you allow us to be, the people that you want us to become. I want to thank you for everything. I mean everything. I feel like in this world, nothing is accomplished, at least in this household, without you. We have the faith and the belief and just know that you will do what's best for us. I ask that you hold people that are sick right now in your arms and hold them up. I know we just had a recent death at our church, and I ask that you hold their family up high and wrap your arms around them and make sure that they're okay. I ask that all the people that are going through something right now, no matter if it's mental, physical, financial, emotional, whatever it is, I ask that you wrap your arms around them and help make them whole. Help them feel to be human and to be loved again. I ask all of these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So, I am going to talk about honesty. And actually, it's kind of slapped me into the face last night through Jack. And just some things that have been going on for a few months. And a new friend of mine. And yeah. So anyway. All right. Proverbs 12:22. The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy, highlighting that honesty is valued by God. Ephesians 4:25, which encourages believers to speak truthfully to their neighbor. Proverb 19:1. Better to be poor and honest than to be dishonest and a fool. I couldn't agree more. All right, so, you know, I was going to make him cookies, and I got those kisses. I was going to make those cookies, but I thought, you know what, why not just make him a personal dessert instead of going, okay, all these cookies, take them to work. So, I am going to make chocolate chip cookie pie. And you guys know that I stocked back up on some more of the pie crusts. So now there's going to be one left, so maybe a chocolate pie in the future. That is Tom's favorite. Or chocolate peanut butter. Yeah. Maybe something really good for the old guy. He deserves it. He works so hard, you guys. I felt so bad the other day. He was in so much pain that I almost wanted to cry for him. And I'm like, we just need to retire you. And he's like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. He's like last of the tough guys, you know, that no matter what, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. He always jokes, he goes, you're making me old, you're making me old. Because the way I talk to him or whatever. And I go, no, I think you're doing that quite well on your own. We tease back and forth. I can't imagine our marriage, honestly, if we didn't tease. Because that's really what kind of makes our marriage fun. And we do tease each other a lot, and that's a good thing. And him and Jack really do sometimes get the best of me, which, you know, hey, it happens. All right, so now instead of getting all my big old containers out, in this bowl I put 3/4 of a cup of sugar in it, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of flour, and a cup of chocolate chips. So now we need to chop up a cup of walnuts. It says by me, but we'll get it to what I get it to. So anyway, what made me bring up the honesty thing was we talked about Jack's roommate and how he's just, yeah, it's, I won't get into detail. That's Jack's story, not mine. But he lies constantly. I mean, just constantly. Not Jack, the guy. And, you know, he's just like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and he said to me, because Jack used to be pretty famous for little fibs. Well, sometimes big fibs. But anyway. And he looked at me last night when he got ready to leave, and he says, you know, I've learned something. And I said, yeah, what's that? And he says, I promise to try to never lie to you again. And I go, why is that, Jack? And he goes, because I know how bad that, you know, how bad it sucks. And he says, you know, then you can't believe anything that someone says. Ding, ding, ding. When there's not honesty in something, then how do you fully trust somebody? You know what I mean? Like if I tell you the sky is blue and you look up and it's pink, are you going to believe me if I tell you next time it's pink and it's blue? You know, I mean, honesty is such, you know, I don't know. I'm in sales. I actually consider myself a stay-at-home wife now. I'm not out actively pursuing new contracts. I do still take care of my old ones. And if a new job came up through, obviously, a new deal, I wouldn't turn it down. Hello. I do have to pay my bills. But anyways, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, but anyways, you know, I would, you know, I'm in the credit card business, and there's a lot of liars in there. A lot of people will tell you something, and then you end up in a lot of, yeah, not so savory things. But anyway, and I used to tell people, you know, like, how do I know that I can trust you? And I'm like, well, my soul is not worth your deal. And they're like, what? And I'm like, my soul is not worth your deal. And, you know, I've got people that have been with me since I started in the sales in 2013. They don't leave because I stay honest and true. And they know if they want me to do something, if I can do it, I'll do it. If I can't, I will tell them. That's just how it is. Now we're going to need 2 eggs. And we're going to need to, how'd they put it? Well beaten. We got to beat our eggs. Bad egg. You've been so bad, you're going to get beaten now. Beating, beating. What is it? Beat it, beat it. I know, I just showed my age, didn't I? So we're going to add those 2 eggs in there. Get all that luscious, beautiful taste in there. We're going to do 1/2 cup of cooled melted butter. Yummy. And it doesn't have salt in it. Go figure. And a teaspoon of vanilla. And I have to call at work today, and I think they've messed up my paycheck, so I got to call them today. Ugh. Hate dealing with stuff like that. But anyways, honesty. I know I've been telling Jack for years, you know, you just got to tell the truth. You know, you know, I've got a new friend, and, you know, I told her, I'm not the person that you ask, do I look fat in that dress? because, and I don't do it to hurt your feelings, but if you ask me an honest question and you look at me right in the face, I'm going to give you my honest answer, whether you like it or not. Look at that. Doesn't that look delicious? I think Tom's going to love it. All right, so now we're going to put it into our pie crust here. Oh, baby. You just gotta love anything that's got chocolate chips in it. Come on. Alright, so now we're gonna put it in a 350 oven for, it says check the pie, about 35 minutes. So we're gonna set that timer for 35 minutes. Alright. So, I got a piece of egg on there. Uh-oh. So this new friend of mine, she started out by just emailing me, and she said, Jack was reading me the email last Friday, and she started to say, there's your truth, their truth, and I go, and the truth. And that's exactly what she had said. So we think about honesty, and could you imagine, well, if everybody was 100% honest, there'd be a lot of people with hurt feelings. Because, honestly, do we want to hear that we look fat in that dress? Probably not. But could you imagine a world where if someone said something to you, it was the truth, and you knew you could take it to the bank? I know you can't really take it to the bank, but you know what I mean. And how much better of a world this would be. You know, like, I don't think God wanted us to lie about things. Not even little tiny lies. Because little tiny lies can turn into bigger lies. And, you know, like I told her, I said, you know, I got too much going on in my brain to keep track of what I've said. You know, I would rather know that I said the truth. That way I don't have to go back and think, well, what did I tell her? And what did I tell her? And that is just like a full-time job. I don't have time for it. But anyway, honesty. So, the last few months, there's been, now this is a personal thing, and I won't say names, nothing like that, but there's been a lot of lies said about me. And, it's not about my channel either. But, you know, those lies have caused a lot of destruction in family, friends, everything else. So when that lady said to me, their truth, your truth, and the truth, you know, it shouldn't be like that. It should be the truth. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. Like I had someone call me a whale the other day on my channel. I'm like, okay. Said, what you got? But anyway, it's destroyed a lot. And a lot of people will, what's the word for it? They'll go to the first side and, oh, that's got to be true. And so they completely back away from this side and this person. They don't ask this person, well, is that true? Is this true? Now that girl did. That girl did. And I appreciate that. And I thank you for asking my side and the truth. But a lot of times people don't take that time. How many families and friendships and whatever has been ruined over the lack of honesty? So my thought is, you know what? If you mess up, you mess up. I mess up on recipes. I mess up on my everyday life. I mess up on my job. I mess up on my channel. You know, this is the 4th time I started it because I'm like, watch what you say, how you say it. Don't want to, you know. You know, I mean, I just so totally lost train of thought again. But I don't even know what to say. We've got to remember that if you don't want to be lied to, you don't want to be dishonest, you wouldn't want someone else to do that. And I mean, is there, like, you can make comments below, and you don't have to go into detail because sometimes that's very painful. But has there been dishonesty in a relationship or family, friend, whatever it happens to be, and it has affected you for not only the present, but the past and possibly the future? And would you like that opportunity to be able to say, hey, this is what they say, this is the truth. You know, you pick what you decide to believe after that. How many relationships have been lost? You know, like, what was the Bible verse here? Hold on a second. I covered it up. Better to be poor and honest than to be dishonest and a fool. And you know something? You look at all the people that you know that are really poor, and they don't care, but yet they have like this, and I'm not saying all by any means. We never want to put all in there, but you know, like, I remember my grandparents were poor, and they were the most loving, God-fearing, honest people you would ever meet. And they would give you the world. Now you look at a lot of, you know, rich people or wannabe rich people, and they may not be quite as honest. Maybe they had to step on a lot of toes to get where they are, and maybe that's why they act that way. I don't know. I know I'm not making any sense. And I'm not going to say sorry, Sherry. I won't. I promise. Maybe. Like when my kids were growing up, they always knew, like, maybe, I don't know how they broke it down, maybe, blah, blah, blah. They knew whether they were going to get something or not. Now, if I said, I promise, they got it. I don't care if I had to go through whatever to get them what they asked for, and I promised I would do it. I think they said maybe was like, she's probably going to do it, but it depends on income and stuff. I don't know. They had me read out so good. It was so funny. But I would never tell them I'm going to do that for you if I can't. I think nowadays too, and probably even in the past, if our parents would have just said, you know, been honest, like, you know what, I really would like to take you there, or really would like to do that for you, but I just really can't see that happening because of time restraints, money, whatever it happens to be. And I think kids are very, very, I don't know the word for it, but that they understand more. They might get upset, but they're going to be like, you know what, at least they told me why we can't do those things or whatever. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, even in the workforce, you know, you didn't get that raise, or you didn't get to go up a stage because, be honest with me, is it I'm not qualified? Is there something I need to work on more? You know, be honest as to why I'm not jumping up the thing. Is it just you don't like me? What is it? You know what I mean? And I mean, think about the world. If you could actually tell a person, well, you know what, I think maybe in a year or so you'll be great for that position, but right now you're just not ready. These are the things you can do to become ready. And you know, at the moment it's going to be like, oh, you know, like that really sucked. But you know what, isn't it great to know something that you can do to work to get to where you want to go? And if someone was honest with you and told you that, you're not sitting there for 20 years wondering why you never progressed. Maybe it was something stupid you had to fix. Who knows? What about in relationships with your family or your friends? Like your friends find you obnoxious, but they're afraid to tell you, you know? Or, You know, like, I'll have friends of mine, they'll be like, Chris, you got to stop letting everybody walk all over you. You know, or, I mean, just, they'll tell you, if they really truly love you, they will tell you, honestly, about what you do and don't need to work on, or what you do need to stop, or don't need to stop, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind comments. I love the comments. I really, truly do. And I look forward to, I get up at 1:45 in the morning and I listen to a Bible thing in the morning. And then while I'm doing that, I'm answering my comments and stuff. And I look forward to every morning having all those comments to answer back. Because you're actually involved and you're part of my life. And you make yourselves part of my life. And that's what makes a family. By the way, we got a comment last night. And she says, I'm glad to be a part of your family. Do you know, you guys, that made my heart just absolutely sing. Because that's how I want us to look at my channel, is we are a family. We're friends, we're family. We're people that look out for each other. You know, we pray for each other. We boost each other up. And that's what family is about. I used to think about when my son would say, Mom, family's not always blood. And I'm like, well, yes, it is. Well, you know what? Sometimes family is more than blood. Sometimes it's just someone that you've never met. It could be anybody. I'm getting in deep. I don't know. I don't know if today makes sense at all. I don't know. But, you know, make your comments below. Never be mean to people if you can. Never be mean to people. But what's something that you wished honesty would have came out and it would have fixed a million things or one thing? What's something that you wished somebody would have known the truth and they would have seen the real you and not something someone else had portrayed? We can portray people however we want to, but is it who they really are? Maybe, but maybe not. I know it's a personal thing today, but I have the feeling that I'm not the only person that has went through this. I'm not the only person that feels pain from dishonesty. And, you know, I've come to the conclusion that, you know what, if I've lost some people that I thought were, well, friends, acquaintances, whatever, I guess they just don't like the truth. I don't care. Is it painful? Sure. But you know what? I don't care. They weren't the people that were supposed to be in my life. I think sometimes we question that. You know, like, there's people that, how is that saying? You know, they come in for a day and they last for a lifetime. I don't know how it is, but not every person that comes into your life is meant to be forever. Well, first of all, we all die, so we know that. But you know what I mean? Sometimes people come into your life to teach a lesson or to be there for you at that special moment. And sometimes you outgrow them or they outgrow you or you both outgrow each other. Or sometimes they're people that are friends of yours for the rest of your lives. You know, like my dad said, if you get two true friends at the end of this lifetime, you've really done well. I'd say my number one true friend is my husband. He's got my back no matter what. I mean, no matter what. And I had a friend actually in Canada that I was friends with for years. His name was Darcy. And you guys, he would have moved heaven and earth for me and my kids. That was back when I was a single mom. And he actually made it here one day. It's when we lived in Langsburg, and he actually had driven, and I had never been in a convertible before, and neither had the kids. And he pulled up outside of my apartment, and he says, well, let's go to lunch. And he put us in his convertible. And we just went and got subs at Subway. And then he stayed and he talked for a little bit. And my kids really liked him. It wasn't like a dating thing, nothing like that. We were just friends. That was it. But he passed quite a few years ago. And he was honestly what I would call a true friend. It wouldn't matter what time, day or night, he would talk. Bobby needed a calculator for his class, and there were like 100, they're T2 or hundreds or whatever they're called, but they're $100 a piece. And he's like, hey, I got one from when I was in college. Let me send it to you. Save me $100, you know, but he'd come through for the kids, and he was just a good guy. He was a good guy. So, you know, went off on something else, didn't I? I am taking up way too much of your time today. For that, I am sorry. Sorry. But anyway, so I'm going to check this in 20 minutes and see how it's doing. I would imagine you just put your fork in there or something and see if it pulls out clean, it's done. If it's not, it's not. Then we add more time. So I hope that this touches someone today. You know, put the comments below. Maybe, you know, a whole relationship with family, whatever, was destroyed over dishonesty. You know, maybe you need a chance to be able to vent. And you can do that on there. Just be nice. But I thought about that today, and I cannot be the only person that's been affected by honesty. I bet you 90% of all of you have had that same thing. Because I think that nowadays, especially, I don't think people always care about the truth. And they probably should. But anyways, I'll be back when this is done. And you know what? If you hate today's video, I'm sorry. I know I told Cher I wouldn't say that, but I crossed my fingers. I'll be back. Alrighty, it did take 35 minutes, and it was completely done. So let's take a little, you know, quality test. He'll never notice. So good. Still a little warm. Look at that. So if you want a quick dessert, there you go. You could add ice cream to it or whatever you wanted to do. Or if you're really a chocolate person, just put more chocolate stuff over top. So anyway, I'm going to end the video because it was very long today. I'm sorry. There I go again. I'm fibbing. My fingers are crossed. Anyways, put your comments below and on what we've talked about today with honesty, and know that it is better to be poor and honest than be dishonest and be a fool. I do believe that with all my heart. You know, sometimes people don't like the honesty and what comes out of your mouth, but I would rather someone not like me because I told the truth than to someone dislike me because they don't know the truth. So, you guys have a blessed day. Be a blessing. And I'll be here at supper. And know that I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. And I appreciate each and every one of you. You're in my prayers every day that everything's okay. I do love you guys. And thank you for going through this journey with me every single day. It's more than appreciated. I just can't even tell you how much. You guys have a great day.